nice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my Jeep Wrangler and its complete overlanding build that I've been building together for the last few years. Now I'm going to be going over the full outside setup of the Jeep as well as the inside. So this might be a little bit longer of a video. If you don't have the time to watch the whole thing, I'd recommend adding it to your save to watch later playlist. While you're down there, drop a like as well. This does really help a lot with the algorithm. So we're going to be going over all the different things that I've done to this Jeep to make it the perfect overlanding build for the wife and I. And I think you guys are going to be really impressed with some of the things that I've got going on here. Some unique stuff that I've not seen a lot of other people use. I guarantee you're going to find one or two things that you're going to think are really cool and want to add to your own overlanding setup. Now, I will leave links in the description for pretty much everything that you see in this video. If there's something that I miss, or if you have a question about something, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. I respond to every single one, and so I'd love to help you guys get set up on going out overlanding yourselves. So the Jeep itself is a 2017 JKU Sport. And this thing has just been perfect for us in terms of going and doing a lot of off-roading, 4x4ing, and just camping along the way. We've taken this on many road trips around the United States, and it has served us well. It's a great platform to build an overlanding setup, as you can really modify it and adjust. There's so many different accessories and parts that you can get, and it has been fun building this up over the last few years. And so let's go over the first major thing that we have here, and we've got some 35-inch all-terrain Goodyear tires. These have been a beast. They get us over pretty much everything. And the wheels are some Bronze Vision wheels. They look fantastic. I think the bronze really looks good with the blue, and I've been super impressed with these tires so far. The Jeep is also on some 2-inch Rancho lifts. This is something I probably want to upgrade in the future, maybe get a little bit better suspension and shocks, maybe go up to 3 to 4 inches on this Jeep. But right now, this has been doing us great, gives us plenty of clearance and enough space for these 35-inch tires to fit perfectly. On the front here, I have a Rugged Ridge Arceus stubby bumper here. I think it looks fantastic. It came with the winch plate, so I was able to install a Bunker Industries 13,000-pound electric winch, and it has been really nice to have this on here. I got some blue D-ring shackles here that I custom painted to match with the Jeep color. It's a really sturdy bumper that holds up pretty good. Nice to have this little bit of a bull bar here. And it also gives me a little bit more room for the tires as well, so that way they're not going to be interfering with the front bumper. For headlights, these are just pretty much some Amazon Halo headlights. I would like to upgrade those in the future, but they've been working pretty good. They look really nice with the Halo lights on them, but I definitely think they could be a little bit brighter. So on both sides of the vehicle, we did relocate the side mirrors to the frame here. It's just nice when you take the doors off in the summer, and that way you don't have to find another set of rear view mirrors to attach. These just always stay there. And then we've also both got a step here that is mounted onto the rear hinges of the back door. Folds down, gives you a little bit of step. These are used pretty much every time we go camping because we often have to get up on top of the roof to adjust the tent and the storage tote. So having these is really nice. Got them on both sides. So on the passenger side here, we do have a Trail Racks mount that does screw into the hardtop and then mounts underneath this side here. We've mounted our traction boards on here, and these are pretty great. They help you get out of a stuck situation if you're in sandy areas or just snowy areas as well. But one of the main things we use this for is leveling the Jeep out. Oftentimes we'll go out to a campsite or an area and it just can't find that perfect spot. Putting 1 or 2 of these underneath a certain tire or a certain side of the vehicle will just help keep it level. I definitely recommend picking up some traction boards, and this is a good way to mount it. So now let's move on to the roof, and we're going to start here with the front where I've got my lights mounted. These are KC Apollo lights, and we've got 4 of them here. 2 of them are wide beam and 2 of them are spots, and it is something that we just pretty much mounted onto a single cross beam here that we got on Amazon. You can buy, when I bought this, it came with 2. We only needed the 1, and it's just got really good mounting situations for it to mount onto. The wiring then goes into the cab here, and I have a switch that I can just activate to turn these lights on, and they are then wired into the battery on the Jeep. It's nice to have these in case you're getting to campsite really late or if you're driving out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just nice to have a really big spotlight on there. But that is a pretty simple setup, and I just always love the look of round headlights on the top of a Jeep. All right, now let's talk about the roof rack that I have on my Jeep. Now, this is the thing that most people seem to ask questions about because they can never figure out which one to get. and I'm really happy with what I have here. So this roof rack is made by Antidote. This is their full-size one that they sell, and it doesn't require any drilling into the hardtop, which is really nice. And it mounts in the rain gutters here on the front, here in the middle, and then on the very back, it actually mounts on the hinge system of the rear mirror. So there's no weight on the hardtop back there. Now I did swap out one of their mounts for a different one back here made by Body Armor. And the reason why I did this is because these ones are all solely mounted in the rain gutters, which I don't know if I trust personally as much, but this one does spread a little bit of the weight onto the hardtop as well as the rain gutter. So it just gives me a little bit of more peace of mind knowing that it is just a little bit more spread out. And I haven't had any issues with this setup since I got it installed, and I've been really happy with it. Now, if you saw my last Jeep walkthrough video, I had a different roof rack on here made by Rough Country, and I really like that one too. But the reason why I ended up swapping it was it's just a little too high, and I want to get a lift on my Jeep like I mentioned earlier. And the way my Jeep fits in the garage, there was no way I was going to be able to get any lift with that roof rack on there. So I went for something that's a little bit more low profile. I have seen a boost in gas mileage as well, since I've not been such a drag. But this roof rack has been really nice. It has a lot of grooves, a lot of slats that go across with a lot of different mounting options, which has allowed me to get a lot of different equipment up on top. Now, the first thing I have installed on my roof rack is this 270-degree freestanding awning by Overlanding. Now, big thanks to them because they did send it out to us to test and let you guys know about it. I've been a big fan of having 270-degree awnings on my Jeep. This one is a huge upgrade over the last one that I did have. Oftentimes you'll go out to camp and you'll be in the sun or in the rain or in the weather, and having a quick piece of shade that you can set up in no time at all is essential in my opinion. There are hooks on it as well, so you can add guy ropes in case it's going to be a little bit windy. And even though you don't need to, you can sit down the legs here as well. This will add just a little bit more stability or height in case you want a little bit more height. And it is just so nice to be able to set this thing up and have no problems with dealing with sun and rain and elements like I was saying. And then also on each bar here, you have a full LED light that you can just plug in with a USB bank, and you can select between 3 different colors of lights, a white, an amber, and a more yellow color, depending on the bug situation that you have. And another really nice feature about this Overlanding 270 awning is it has this zipper here that goes along the complete outside, which will allow you to attach sidewalls. So you can completely get full privacy around your campsite here with a really, really easy setup. It really doesn't take long, and it doesn't take long to put away either. But having that full enclosure just gives you a little bit more added privacy, because sometimes you have to camp a little close to somebody else, and it's nice just to not have to see them or deal with. I did want to give a huge thanks to Overlanding for sending this out to us to use and add to our Jeep setup. You're going to see this pretty much used in every single video of ours in the coming future, as this awning is just going to be an essential part of our overlanding experience. If you guys want to go pick one of these up yourself, there will be a link in the description. Make sure you go down and check it out. And thanks again, Overlanding, for sending us this really awesome awning. So on the top of the Jeep here, we have the main part of our whole overlanding and camping experience, and this is the iKamper Sky Camp Mini. This rooftop tent has been fantastic for us. It's probably been one of our most favorite purchases that we've done together as a couple, because we just go out and camp with it all the time. It is so nice to be able to go out to all these different locations and have a really comfy home away from home. Nice setup. It's so easy to get ready, and it is so easy to pack away. We got some poles here that do help open the entrance out a little bit more. And then we have installed this really cool step ladder situation onto the ladder. This really helps improve the overall experience of going up and down into the tent. You don't slip through the ladder, but the best part is our dog is able to then just walk up there freely and be able to join us whenever we go up to bed and stuff. It just takes away her fear, and it just makes it really comfortable to use. Now, depending on how you set up your rooftop tent, it can be kind of hard to get this packed in there as well. What I definitely recommend you guys do is pick up an air mattress for your iKamper or for your rooftop tent. It allows that mattress to fold down a lot thinner and allows you to get more stuff in there. We're able to keep our pillows and bedding, and it also allows us to keep this stepladder system in place and keep it always attached to the tent. So definitely recommend picking up an air mattress. We're using the iKamper one for the Mini. It's extremely comfortable. It is so much better than the stock pads you usually get in a rooftop tent. Definitely recommend looking. I know XPED also makes a really nice one, but with this 4 inches of air and memory foam that's in there, so it's extremely comfortable, and we just really like having that setup. We have some Hess pillows in there, as well as some nice rumple blankets in there. Just keeps us nice and warm and cozy. Having a rooftop tent like this is just a ton of fun. I know some people don't like it as much. We love it. It's just been one of our most favorite purchases. We feel safe up there. We're extremely comfortable off the ground. Just really nice to be up high. It's like having a tree house on top of your vehicle. So the last thing we have on the roof rack here is a 95-liter Roam storage tote. The reason why we stuck the tote up here is because we're able to store stuff that we previously had in the Jeep up here on the roof. This is stuff that we just found was just taking up too much space in the Jeep. This helps us keep it a little bit more organized while keeping this out of the way. We also mounted this storage tote in a horizontal position along the top of the Jeep, and we have it open up in this position because we're able to easily access everything that's in the bottom here. And then on the top, on the inside of the tote, we have a bunch of different pouches here, which we can actually grab from the window of the iKamper. We're able to just unzip, reach in, and grab anything else we might need for the tent. We usually keep warm socks in here, an extra fan, maybe some chargers. So the main things we store in here is we have a floor mat here, 6x9 floor mat. We also have an awning for the front of the iKamper that zips in, spreads out the front of the campsite. And then we have also the side walls for the 270-degree freestanding awning. Having this all stored up in here frees up so much space in the Jeep, like I said before. All right, so now onto the back of the Jeep here. So on the rear tire here, in order to hold the new 35-inch all-terrain tires that I have, I did have to swap out the stock tire holder here. So I've got a Smitty-built one here that was pretty easy to install, but this allows me to hold a 35-inch tire. The stock one that it comes with does not work when you've got a heavy tire like this because it was just bouncing up and down, and you could hear it while you were driving. Did not feel safe. So that was a must needed upgrade. Now on the tire here, I have a Himmel trash bag system here. It's just really nice being able to store a bunch of stuff in here. The top is where we keep toilet paper and toilet bags and other kind of essentials that we might need out here. Then on the inside, we store a pop-up tent and a toilet seat holder here. Now the pop-up tent allows us to be able to get a little bit of privacy, set up the toilet tent. It's just a little bit easier than going and squatting behind a tree. Having a system like this, the wife really appreciates it, and I mean, it's pretty nice to have yourself. You can also use it as a changing room in case you need it as well. But just having this setup back here has been really nice. This is also where we put our trash in when we're packing out after a long camping trip. Now on the tire itself over here, I have ratcheted a system here that holds two different mounts. On this side, I have a Rotopax here. This is a 2-gallon tank of gas. I did spray paint it black. There's a little bit of red showing, but having an extra 2 gallons of gas gives me a little bit more of a peace of mind knowing I have like an extra 30 to 35 miles of range. There's been a few times where we've gone out camping and the gas station we were going to go to was closed, and we didn't have just enough gas, and we had to limp our way to the next closest one. We have a few close calls, and it's nice to have that little bit of extra bit of peace of mind. And then on the other side here, I have mounted a 5-pound propane tank. This is in an Ignic case. Just nice black aesthetic that helps complete the look that I'm obviously going for. But storing the 5-pound propane tank out here works really well, especially considering how it connects with my kitchen system, which I'll show you guys here in a second. Now the bumper I installed here, it was made by Hook Road. It relocates the license plate down here to the bottom, gets it out of the way here because I felt like it was a little bit annoying having it up here. Just gives me a little bit more platforms to work with. Has a nice reverse light in it as well. And it's nice and sturdy enough to where you can stand on it as well in case you need to work on the roof rack from this side. I also have a rear camera installed here. This goes up into the front, which I'll show you a really cool system that I have. And then I have a backup camera that is mounted underneath here as well. Just nice to know what's going on behind your vehicle because it's kind of hard to tell when you're inside when you've got all your camping gear in there. But now that we're done going over pretty much everything on the outside, I think I've covered everything that you guys would want to know. If I missed anything, let me know down in the comments below. But now I'm going to show you guys how I have it set up on the inside. This is where I've had to do a lot of organization to make it key. And one of the things that we found ourselves doing when we first started getting into this hobby is we were going overloading and not overlanding. So we've really had to figure out a way to cut down what we bring and just only bring what we need. And so we've got a pretty good system, which I'm happy with. And I've got some really cool, unique organizational features in here I think you guys are gonna like. So let's go over what I've got here in the back. Okay, so on the tailgate here, I have a table that is made by Front Runner. Absolutely love this table. It is extremely durable. There's quite a lot of space that's on it, and it has a pull-out wooden cutting board as well. Now, one of the other really cool features that I've added is a Dometic metal plate here, which allows me to put a faucet system on here as well. Now, I've wired a tube system that goes all the way into the cab. I'll show you where I have the water spot. But I'm able to plug this in here to the faucet, and then I'm able to have running water straight from the back of my camp. Right now it's pulling the water through, and then here we are. I have some nice water that is great for washing up dishes, filling up water bottles, giving the dog some water. I really like how this turned out. I did put a black insulation lining around the tube, so in case it's in the sun, it's not going to affect the water in the tube or the plastic and stuff. And it's just wired behind here and hosed all the way through the side. One thing to keep in mind though with this setup is I made a huge mistake when we went out to Moab. We got caught in a random snowstorm just in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of the desert. And during the panic, after we'd set up camp, we were quickly trying to put things away so that everything didn't get drenched in the snow. So I shut down the window of the Jeep, folded the table up, and I forgot I had the faucet still on here. So when I shut the back door, it shattered my rear window here, which I had to get replaced. Tell you what, that was not a good thing to happen in the middle of the desert. We ended up having to drive to town and put a big tarp up here, get some duct tape set up so that way we weren't tracking in all this Utah dust into the Jeep. And we spent an absolute age at our campsite picking up all the broken glass on the ground. So that was a huge mistake that I'm not going to make again. So do keep in mind, this is a really cool setup, but don't forget, you got to make sure you put it away before you shut the back of the Jeep. All right, so now let me talk about what we've got packed in the Jeep. And let me tell you what, this is so much more minimalistic than what we used to go out and bring. We used to at least have 2 totes on here, but we've managed to downsize ourselves quite a bit because we moved a lot of stuff up to that rooftop storage tote. So we don't have a fancy drawer system in here or any pull-out system. I haven't felt the need too much for it. I really like how we have things set up the way we are. So first off, we just have a standard Plano small storage tote. This is where we typically keep all our dry food in. Underneath it is where we keep our Icico fridge. This is a fantastic fridge, and having a car refrigerator is just a really big game changer when it comes to going on long overlanding trips, having your food nice and cold and even frozen if you need it, and not having to do with ice and ice water. Having a fridge like this is fantastic. And now this one is also in a insulation case, just to provide a little bit more insulation, obviously. But it is super easy to manage and regulate. You can control it with your phone. So if you're up in the front of the vehicle, your wife can check to see, make sure everything is working and make sure everything is at the right temperature that you want. Now, next to the fridge, we have this tire table system. So having a option for multiple different tables when you go out and set up your overlanding system is a must. This one is something that I've really enjoyed having. This just mounts to the tire of your vehicle. We typically keep ours here on the driver's side, which is underneath the awning. Setting this table up, super easy. You just grab both of these legs here on the sides. Just loosen up the clamp system that goes around the tire. Slide it over, and then you can just clamp it in place. It allows you to move storage wherever you need. Help keep yourself a little bit more organized. So next to the fridge, we have pretty much everything else for the kitchen setup in a Costco tote. It's just pretty much the perfect size and dimensions. And with it having these ridges on the side, allows you to put stuff on top that's not going to fall away or fall off. And I know it's pretty basic, but it actually works pretty decent for us. Inside it, we do keep all the things that we might need in terms of cooking. We've got different bowls in here. We got different pots and pan sets. We got a kettle. We got our propane hose, cleaning equipment, anything else that we might need. And then also we have this iKamper bag here, which has pretty much got all our utensils and seasonings and everything like that. And we usually mount this on the other side around the iKamper. So what's really nice about the iKamper is it has these hooks that are underneath here. And with some carabiners, you're able to hook this iKamper bag to it. Once that's up, you can then just unzip And then all your supplies are easy to access. This is a really nice spot for it to hang, because it's easy for us to come grab when we are working on the kitchen. Now, one of the really cool things that we have installed in this Jeep is this drop-down MOLLE panel. There are just two screws that you just have to undo on each side. And once you do that, you can then drop down and pull out a full system here for all your kitchen equipment that you might need. This is a really cool thing that we've got installed. We have all our knives in here and a cutting board in case we need an extra one. We have our tableware where we keep all our extra plates. We have a jet boil obviously in here, another little camping cooking stove here. In these 3 pouches here, we keep some butane for the camping cooking equipment. And then also here, we have a paper towel dispenser. This has been such a cool little feature to have everything tucked up underneath the roof, and I am quite impressed with it. Obviously, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go check it out. It pretty much mounts just on the roll bar. There's some mounts here on the sides as well as on the top that you can screw it into some holes. It's a really cool system and just nice to be able to have it up there out of the way. So now we're looking at the rear window of the Jeep here. There's a couple things I've done to improve this whole setup. So first off, I've added an LED light strip here, which I can just quickly activate with a button just on the inside and select whatever color that I might want. Really nice when it's dark out and you're trying to cook a meal. So another thing that you guys might know if you own a Jeep is usually there's a big old gap here between the rear mirror and the Jeep itself. And so when it's raining, the water usually runs straight down here and drips right down this gap. Well, I found this really cool thing here that actually sticks to the mirror and sticks to the frame and provides a waterproof channel. The water then runs down the side of the Jeep and never actually falls down here anymore. Because oftentimes when you're out here in your Jeep cooking, this is the primary spot that you're going to want to be. And when it's raining, it is nice to not have to deal with water dripping down here. So definitely go check that out. This has been one of my favorite upgrades because it actually makes quite a bit of a difference. Now down the side here of this tote, we keep our camp cooking stove. Now this one is made by Kadak and Dometic, and this thing has been wonderful. Now let me show you exactly why I mean that. So this little cooking system has been so nice to have. Comes in a really nice case. It's a really neat design on how they have things set up here. So it fits absolutely perfect on my little tailgate table here. And when you open it up, you've got 2 different spots for pots and one for a little bit more advanced heating. You can swap those for their skillet and their grill trays that come with it as well. This is great for cooking steak, cooking vegetables, whatever else you might need. Comes with a unique handle system which allows you to lift it up when it's hot, swap it between the 2. It has a really good cooking rate and efficiency when it comes to adjusting the temperature and stuff. So like I showed before, I have my 5-pound propane tank right here. I can just unzip the top, lift up, and have access to my propane canister. I then just hook it up to the propane, bring the cord behind the cooker, and then just use the quick connect to attach it to my Dometic cooker. And there we go. I have my fuel supply for my cooker. Easy, clean, no problems. Close this up. And if I need to, we sometimes run a fire pit in the front of the Jeep, and I can just turn this propane tank around and run that hose into the fire pit. This is a really nice place to have it. Easy access, keeps things nice and organized. Now on the left side here, behind the roll cage, I've actually installed a really cool MOLLE panel system here. Fits right behind there, mounts into the base of the hardtop down here. And I've installed a few different pouches and things that I might need for depending on situation. So back here, mounted here, I have a pouch labeled fire, and inside of it I have just a bunch of fire lighter stuff that I might need, a flint system, as well as some cotton wool wrapped in some Vaseline. This is just a pouch where I keep all those accessories. Down here is where I have another pouch where we keep some playing cards and some other things that we might need for just a little bit more entertainment. Now, as I mentioned earlier, with my Dometic faucet system, this is where I have all the water stored. So I found this little bracket system here on Amazon. This bracket system just mounts on to the other side of the window here where the hard top separates, and it just holds in place pretty firmly and solid. It is metal, and it holds this Dometic jug perfectly. So the tube that is on the Dometic there then just runs down behind through that system underneath that little storage compartment, and then you can see it there with the insulated liner running down and then back behind that black piece of trim. It then goes all the way to the faucet system over there. This is a fantastic place for us to store our water. This jug angles itself just a little bit down, which is kind of nice because it lets the tube that is inside make sure it gets all the water that pools up down in the corner down here. And then mounted onto the roll cage here, I have a fire extinguisher. This is a must if you're going to go out overlanding and camping. And then a pouch that I have just behind it is labeled cleaning for obviously all our cleaning supplies. We have our soap, scrubbing equipment, some hand sanitizer, just anything we might need to do our dishes and keep ourselves clean. And then attached to that pouch, I have the LED controller for the light that is on the back window of the Jeep. And then back here, I have a little storage panel that I found on Amazon. Actually works great for storing any loose articles or items that you might need. Just having a little bit of space here just helps keep things a little bit more organized when you're out at camp. Then onto the driver's side here, I have another MOLLE panel that is hidden behind the roll bar and attached to the window the same way as the other side. I have a few different equipment here on this side. So starting off here, I have a tool bag that unclips and folds all the way out. And it has some nice zippers. Here I keep all the tools that I might need to get some things fixed. It is just a really handy place to have tools, and it folds up pretty nicely and easily. And then over here down in the middle, I have a pouch with camping meds in it. So often we'll have ibuprofen, headache pills, allergy pills, antihistamine, some iodine, just anything that we might need in terms of some medication while we're out at the campsite. And then we have a med kit bag over here that has pretty much everything that you might need for a typical camping injury. We've got some splints, we got a boo-boo kit, as well as some different antiseptics and some gauze in there and everything like that. You never know what you might need for yourself or even for your pet. Over here at the front is another separate pouch. This is where we typically keep our sunscreen and bug spray. It just fits in a nice tubular pouch. Down here we have another storage organization area, and we keep our flex tail pump. This is for our air mattress up in the iKamper. Just stores right in there. We have a mallet that sits right behind it. And then I have a saddle bag here that sits on top of the wheel well. In here I keep all the different tent pegs that we might need for the awning, some different light covers, keep some duct tape, as well as a little water filtration system for a bottle in case we need to filter some water from a stream or something similar. And then down here at the end of the saddlebag, we have a little saw here, a little thing for our jack, iKamper adjustment tools, some fire lighters and starters, as well as some more tent pegs in that little pouch here. But this helps keep us super organized in the Jeep. Okay, so moving on to the rear door behind the driver's side. Inside here, as you can see on the door, we have an iKamper bag that is actually mounted onto the frame and underneath the window. This is a really cool setup that not a lot of people actually use, but this bag is what we use for our clothes. So it unfolds like so, and inside, once you unzip, is where we store all our clothes, our toiletries, and everything else we might need. This is usually my side, on the driver's side, and my wife is usually on the passenger side. We both have a bag like this. If we go on just a simple day or two trip, we can pretty much put all our stuff into one of these bags. They're also super easy to unhook in case you end up needing to stay in a hotel for a night or two, depending on the road trip you're going on. But typically we carry 2 bags with us with all our clothes in here. It is a really easy system to set up with, and you can just fold it back in half like so and close the door. This will fit over most of the stuff that you have in your Jeep. Now, to mount this is really simple. I always seem to get people asking me questions, but one really big pro about having a sport Jeep is you've got the wind down windows. You never need to start your Jeep to roll down the windows. But pretty much it just hooks on around the frame with this clip system like so. This strap just goes around the top and just snaps and hooks into place. And then you just roll the window back up. And there we go. You have a nice bag. You can also unhook the door catch here, so that way you can open this door out extra wide, just give you a little bit more space to work with. So inside this door, we also have a few things stored for camping. We did keep the passenger seat here in case we need it for day-to-day, or if we need to carry a third person out. We typically put on this seat here a propane fire pit. This is so nice to have because oftentimes you go out camping and it can get pretty cold. Then on top of that, we keep a cooking system, a Caddick and a Scuttle. It is really nice to be able to have a nice big cooking setup. This is something we use when we go out with a group of people out overlanding. Down here we have a big multi-gallon water jug here that we can then tip down and have easy access to fill up some water. It's just a nice spot for it to store. And it stays nice and low and stays nice and cool in the Jeep from here. Behind the driver's seat here, I've attached a MOLLE panel that just pretty much straps around the headrest and around the waist. And inside we have some a lot of cleaning supplies. So we'll have dude wipes in here, some body wipes. We'll also keep our towels, and as also a little shower system that we can then either put into this water gallon tote or a different bucket system. This is pretty much where we keep all our shower equipment. So underneath the seat, we keep this Thor's Lightning 4-tire inflate system. So now moving on to the passenger side rear door here. This is where we would have my wife's bag here, the iKamper bag like we showed on the other side. This is usually where this mounts. But this is also where our dog likes to hang out when we go on our long road trips. She's a little bit of anxiety, so she likes to be in a crate. And we try to find something that would help with her hair. Since she is part husky, her hair gets everywhere. She's always shedding. So putting her in this crate has been great because it's nice and dark for her. There's plenty of ventilation for her, and it is easy for her to jump in and out. She's pretty comfortable in there. And there's also a top opening zip here as well, where she can pop her head out the top and also see us in case we want to free her up that way. This crate has been really nice for her. Keeps her nice and safe and secure. Now just behind her crate, we have a large solar panel bag where we keep the solar panels for our Jackery system and electrical system that we have. Also, we keep all our different lights that we might need for camp for setting up, including some O lights that we mount onto the iKamper, also at the back of the vehicle as well. So underneath the dog crate, we got rid of the passenger seat and we installed our own seat delete kit. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on some of the ones that are out there that are pre-made. So a buddy and I got together and we made this really cool system. So when you take the seat out, you'll notice that the hinge system that it has in order for you to fold the seat down actually works great as a seat delete mounting situation. So with some 2x4s and this big plank of wood here, we were able to screw it into the original seat frame. And that way it allows you to lift up and down the seat delete kit. Underneath here is usually where we store my air compressor. We also put a bunch of other stuff that we might need, including sleeping bags or any other tools. But we also put our Jackery system here. Now, I don't have anything crazy fancy in terms of electrical systems. What we have here is pretty basic, but it actually works pretty amazingly. So first off, we have our fridge plugged into the DC volt of the Jackery here. This is just a Jackery Explorer 500 watt. And this pretty much keeps our fridge running. If we just were to use it on the Jackery by itself, we could probably get 2 to 3 days. But whenever we go out overlanding and camping, we typically drive this Jeep around to different campsites. We never really stay more than a day or two at a single spot. And when we're driving, we plug this cable in, which is into the cigarette lighter in the Jeep, which then charges up the Jackery when we're driving. If we end up staying at a campsite a little longer, we then plug our solar panels into it, and that keeps this Jackery pretty much going forever. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys something really cool that I have installed on the roof of the Jeep here at the back. Now this is behind the driver and the front passenger seat. This is where it's going to be above the dog crate and above the clothing bag that we have. So right here in the middle, we have a cool metal MOLLE panel system here by Tribe 13. This goes from the back roll cage all the way to the front here. And this screws in place, and this allows us to mount some stuff to the top. So first off, we have a bag here, which mounts our 2 camping chairs made by Click. They both sit in here really nice and really easy to access. We're able to grab them from the front seat as they are just easily accessible. And then mounted to this side of the roll cage that then goes over the metal Tribe 13 MOLLE panel, and then over to the other side is this really cool strap system thing that often you see advertised online as a way to sit in a kind of hammock style system when you got the roof off of the Jeep. We have repurposed it to actually store some blankets as well as some jackets when we're out camping. This keeps it up high and out of the way. All right, so moving into the front side of the Jeep on the driver's side. First off, here we have that switch for the headlights on top of the Jeep with the KC lights. Inside here, we've done just a little bit to make it a little bit more comfortable. We've added some grab handles here that just up on top of the Jeep roof here, if I can get this thing to focus, we've added some hot head headliners here, which do help with the insulation a little bit. And as you can see there, we got some patches here. We're trying to get as many national parks to get on the roof here of the Jeep. And then on this side is where I have all my patches for the airsofting that I do and all the different events that I travel to. In terms of what I use for navigation. So pretty much just have a screen here that has Google Maps downloaded offline, and my phone connects wirelessly to it with Android Auto. It's a pretty basic, simple setup, but it does work pretty decently. If you find the pins and the locations, Google Maps works pretty good if you plan beforehand. Now for the rear view camera up here, I have installed a wolf box. Whenever the Jeep is full of stuff, it can be kind of hard to look out the rear view mirror. So this is connected to that camera at the back that I mentioned earlier. Not only does it record the back, it also records the front as well. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of my Jeep Overland overview. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Maybe you found a thing or two that you might want to adapt to yours, or something that you might want to change, pick something up. Links will be in the description, like I said. But I do appreciate you guys watching. Huge thanks to Open Road for sending out this awning. I really do appreciate it, and it has been a fantastic upgrade to my overlanding setup. But hopefully I covered everything that you would be interested in the Jeep. If there's something that I missed, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, in case you wanted a little bit more elaboration on how I have something set up, or in case I missed something that I didn't talk about enough. I would love to be able to answer all your questions, but I really do appreciate you watching. Make sure to leave a like on the video, as it really does help the channel out. And if you're interested in following my wife and I and our dog's adventures, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate it. But with all that said, I hope you guys get out there on the trails and you go find some really cool camping spots and just enjoy the outdoors. Remember to pack out what you bring in with you. Don't go overloading, go overlanding. All right, thanks.